talking through tonight's MLB slate. It's a little tiny baby one, but certainly some things we can try and find ways to do different. Sheets, how was your night last night, and what are your any other sort of overall thoughts before we?
Yeah, if we combined our two pitchers, I thought we would have been good. I mean, because Cole, obviously, that was your pick, and he, as you suggested, he said, "Give me the ball my last week of the game of the season, and I'm not stopping until the game is over." That's and he certainly did it. And then I got a good performance out of Ed Sheeran, sorry. But
what did he end up with?
In the 20s.
Oh wow! Oh
yeah, okay. At least maybe like 27 even.
So even better than Estes and not quite as maybe right near Mania. They were probably similar.
Yeah. So and then but I didn't end up winning. I had a run on FanDuel, some random tournament, which almost got me even for the day, but not so much. But we'll hopefully finish off the season strong, and then I'm really looking forward to these 4-gamers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because it's like, remember, right now you're saying, oh, it's a little 5-gamer. We're gonna wish we had 5-gamers soon,
Right, so, but in the playoffs is a little bit different too, because you get a lot into the weeds of the pinch hitting possibilities. Right. There's all kinds of stuff,
Yeah. But okay, I'm ready to get out for today.
Let's do it. New York in Toronto. Sheets, why don't you start us off here? I'm just grabbing this sheet up.
Okay, a couple of little announcements again. So what I try to do is before every slate do kind of a preliminary sim video where it's more to just go over how to use the tools, because I'm learning every day, and I had a call with Jordan to help me with stuff yesterday. So I'm kind of passing on that kind of increased knowledge to everybody else. And unfortunately, Zoom crashed. So I did the video, but the video cannot be uploaded.
Oh, no.
So I have to redo it. But it gives me again a little bit of perspective of what what different approaches to the slate look like. But in both cases, I am showing. Okay, so I'm showing Bassett as one of the better options on a pretty, it's a small slate, and the slate itself is not great, as far as pitching goes. So I do show Bassett as a pretty decent option, and yet, depending on what type of run I use, I sometimes get to the Yankees. Like, so if I get to the Yankees when I don't run it against the contest I'm playing, but when I'm running it against the contest I'm playing, like the lottery, I'm not getting as much Yankees for some reason. So I figured I would just pass that on. I don't have the Yankees rated particularly high, but happen to be getting to some of them. So I do like Bassett, and I am getting to some Yankees.
Yeah, I have Bassett as definitely a strong option, and I like Toronto. I don't really know why Toronto, wouldn't be popular. Let me just double check their ownerships. I would imagine they'll have some ownership. It's still a little lower for a 5-game slate than I would have thought. Yeah, I'm gonna probably play Toronto as one of my favorite stacks today. Weaver, I think, gets away with a lot, and I don't think he will as much with this lineup, even though it's not their A++ lineup that we had earlier in the year.
Yeah, I saw him pitch there last week when I went to the game.
Oh, Weaver. Oh yeah, he pitched. That was his good game, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what happens.
Ashley comes to the game. We get a Luke Weaver best performance, and Aaron Judge 3 home runs. No problem.
Exactly.
Sorry for that, normal day.
Right. It's actually, that's not that abnormal. Aaron Judge with another 2 home runs last night. All right, we can move on to Miami and New York. I think that the pitching is a little better than the hitting in this game. I think Peterson as a low-owned option is viable. And I think Luzardo is extremely viable. So I have both these guys. I have Luzardo and Bassett pretty close. I think I would have Luzardo a tiny bit ahead if I had to pick between the two at this moment. And I am not interested in the hitting in this game.
Yeah, I have for a small slate. I actually have exposure to more pitchers than I would imagine. A decent amount.
Yeah,
and both of them here. I do have under Bassett. I have Peterson Luzardo is pretty highly owned as far as I'm concerned. So I like both of them. And as far as the hitting goes, honestly, I'm getting some of both the hitting too. I mean, I wish I could tell you, be more direct about other teams, but I'm getting all 4 prongs of this. I'm getting both parts of the hitting and both parts of the pitching. So that's just where it is.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think that the matchup against the Marlins might be a little tougher. One thing that's worth throwing out. It's really terrible hitting weather. 62 degrees again, 10 miles an hour blowing in. Just want to keep throwing it out there as it's been the case lately for so many of these games. It's weird because I wish they would have had more games on this slate. Like they could have easily played the 3:30 games or whatever, but I know they don't like to do that sometimes. All right, let's get back into. Why don't you start us off with Atlanta and Chicago?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the standings here, and the Cubs playing for anything here? I imagine
They're desperate. They're tied for the last wild card.
Right. You can tell
with Miami.
You can tell because they're like really just pulling out. You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes. You know, they're going to start Stroman, and says Assad's coming off the coming in for projected long relief. They're just going to bring out whatever is needed. And I think that's enough to get me off of Atlanta here. You know, like when there's a team that's like in full like every freaking batter matters mode. You know what I mean? I just feel as though that's enough to get me off Atlanta. I am definitely interested in the Cubs as far as hitting goes. I don't know what the A. Smith shower or whatever is up to, but I actually I'm into the Cubs. Now again, that could cut both ways, right? I don't know what type of team the Cubs is with respect to pinch hitting and stuff, but the same thing.
Mike Tauchman, I'll just tell you right now, Tauchman is, if they bring in a lefty, he's 100% to be pinch hit for. Mastrobuoni, 100% to be pinch hit. Well, maybe more like 80%. Depends on when they bring in a lefty, I guess. But those would be the main two guys that you'd worry about.
Yeah. So, but what I was going to say is that same reason why the Chicago every batter matters thing kind of keeps me off Atlanta. From the other side too, I mean, like if there's any edge they can gain in pinch hitting, you know what I mean? They'll do it. So, so it might temper my enthusiasm for Chicago in the bottom end of the lineup, and also, like you said, the Tauchman. But aside from that, the Cubs look pretty good here, actually.
Yeah, I like the Cubs. I don't want to say no interest in the Braves, but I'm telling you right now that Acuna got the 70 stolen base thing, now that they've basically wrapped up the home field advantage, I really don't have any idea. And honestly, there's a part of me, I don't wish injuries on players usually, but if you're going to just mess around like this and not rest any of your guys the entire season, I kind of think you get what's coming to you sometime. Like, I'm serious. I have this weird thing, like, give the guys a freaking break. The Dodgers both had guys playing for something in Betts and Freeman, but I guarantee you're going to see that. We'll talk about them in a minute. I don't understand why Atlanta would keep running out this A+ lineup when they have literally no reason to do anything but give them rest. Now, the argument is that they get the bye in the first round, so they have rest anyway, so you want to keep them somewhat fresh. But even then, usually you stagger and give two guys off rest a day, which is more the mold that these other teams are taking. And I really don't understand why Atlanta wouldn't take that approach starting today. So I would expect a weaker Atlanta lineup, at least to get a couple guys a break. At least give Acuna a day off or something, man. It's getting ridiculous what this guy's done this year. All right. Speaking of which, right, we have the Dodgers next?
Yep. So
go ahead.
Dodgers of Colorado against Flexen. They're going to have is their total, let me guess, is it 8 today?
It's 7. It's 6.8. No, because Vegas is sharp. They know they're thinking the same things that I'm thinking.
Yeah, they're not going to get the full
lineup, right?
The full crew. Yeah. So I mean, aside, that would be a reason to temper your Dodger exposure, plus the pinch hit risk of the players they are starting, I suppose. They're going to project to be the best play. And listen, I've done this the whole season, so I'll just keep fading the road team in cores. I only have a couple more days to lose money doing it, so that's good. Colorado's not in the playoffs, right? So
right.
So I'll fade the Dodgers, and let's hope the 10 runs they put up aren't too bad to beat me, I guess.
Yeah.
And as far as the pitching goes, I don't know if I made worse plays than playing Ryan Yarbrough, hoping he gets 5 innings. But Colorado's pretty bad.
I mean, hoping he gets 5 innings would just be like a weird random pluck of hope. Like
I guess so.
there's
Right?
no real like logic to him like getting 5 innings. He hasn't pitched 5 innings this
Can't get
season.
5.
Oh, earlier he has, as a Dodger, he has not pitched more than 4 innings.
Damn. Yeah, I
He's
guess.
really a middle reliever, like. But maybe they let him go one day. I just don't see the reason. I don't see anything that it gets you to do it. You know?
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, okay. Listen, when I ran my first runs, I got a few lineups with him.
Hey, maybe a few.
He certainly wouldn't be my top option, though. And I am not currently getting to Colorado, and that's pretty much where I am.
Yeah, I actually am good with Colorado as a way of getting different. It's been awful, but they haven't been facing lefties. They're a little better against lefties. They'll also be a little bit more on because it's a smaller slate today. Dodgers, I just think you're just going to take pieces, and that's probably it. If he's in the lineup, Freddie Freeman would probably be my favorite piece at the moment. Yeah, probably Freeman. Freeman and Betts, obviously always Betts, but like they're at the point now where they're hitting sort of all the milestone marks where I just don't think they need to play everybody. Anyway, so I'm going to have to just, again, you don't have to stack on these slates. I happen to like the other stacks quite a bit. The Toronto, I like the Cubs, and I think both the Dodgers and Colorado are totally viable. I just personally will probably go out of my way to not stack and lose again. Although it hasn't really been the case where the stacking has hurt me. The team where I've had my most players is not like they've been producing for me. So anyway, all right. The final, Montgomery and Gilbert in Seattle. This is a huge one. So let me just pull up the standings here because
they're Houston's 1.5 up on Seattle right now.
So Houston ended up winning that game last night. That I take it because I
yep.
paying attention.
8 runs. Yep.
They scored 8 runs.
Yep.
That's what happens when I say that. I know there was an error that led to some runs early. I thought there was something that happened. I was like, oh my god, I'm about to get trolled because of my. Why is everyone so excited about you playing Houston today's take? All right. Cheats, will you jump and just start off?
Yeah, I have an opinion here. And again, this is great because the season's going to be over. Only listen, over soon. I like Texas here. Like I said, it's the combination of a real super pressure game, and they really don't have. I mean, they're a big underdog to get to pull it off anyway. They're full 1.5 out with like 4 games to go.
Right.
And Gilbert's coming off of like 2 kind of like shaky games in a row here. And similar to I don't even know how it worked out, but similar to the way that I played Atlanta against Justin Steele when I just felt as though might be a little bit too much pressure. I'm just kind of feeling the same way here. I just feel Texas knows free swing. They can put up a lot of runs, and Gilbert's probably going to project to be the top, just at least raw points guy on the slate. I don't know. I don't know if people are going to play him or not, but because of his price. But I like Texas here. I'm gonna take a shot in a 5-game slate, especially in the MME stuff. And with respect to the pitching, I actually do like Montgomery here against Seattle. Again, tough spot to play when you're Seattle here. I prefer usually to play righties against Seattle. Well, I don't know. I'm just kind of it's a weak slate, so I do like Montgomery and I do like Texas.
Yeah, I'll go the other way. I like Seattle. I really wanted Seattle to make the playoffs. To Sheets' Montgomery point, he's pitched. I think he's started 3 times against this team, and I think they've scored feels like they've scored like 1 run, but really I think they have like a total of 4 hits against them in 3 starts or something. It's pretty weird. I'm telling you, okay, like I'm not saying that they're wrong about each night and everything, but I've been consistently shocked at the respect that's been given to the Seattle pitchers. And Gilbert is a higher level than Bryce Miller, but like, why did Houston have a 3.7? That was more like my argument. Like I felt the totals felt so small, and to see Texas with a 3.6 run total and the pitcher on the other side is not, Cy Young or whatever. Like, I don't really understand it. It seems like a low total to me. I don't mind any of the Texas big bats to run and do a home run because I think they'll be contrarian. And I personally will do something that wouldn't have worked hardly at all this year because he's very steady. He doesn't give up a ton of home runs, doesn't walk a lot of guys. I will probably get some Seattle exposure. Look, it's a small slate. We've done the Seattle versus lefty thing before this year, and they've got a lot of guys who profile really well against lefties. So I will probably take a shot, maybe even if it's just a one-off, because like I said, again, your most of the lineups will be stacking, but I'll build a couple of hand ones that don't need to stack. And you're going to get, I don't know. I think Eugenio Suarez would be my favorite just because he's like the ultimate boom bust play, but has monster power upside. So I actually like the idea of Suarez. I have my stacks overall for the slate rated. They're all pretty close. Toronto, the Cubs are my favorites, but I might switch over to the Seattle thing. And then I would only be using pieces of the Dodgers, Colorado, just because I don't want the ownership. Even Colorado will have some ownership today. And then my favorite pitchers that we talked about so far, I think I still like Bassett, Luzardo. And the problem is Bassett could end up being a terrible mistake because if he struggles, I don't know. Usually we like to play Bassett because he has a leash. The problem is like Toronto's desperate to win. So does he really have that leash even this time? That's the thing that we've got to figure out. And well, not figure out. I don't think there's much it's really just speculation on how things go. But Toronto, as of right now, is what are they? I guess they're enough up. They're 2 up on Seattle. So, but still, they're going to play. They're going to, if he gives up 5 runs in the first inning, it's not like we're going to see him bounce back and pitch 7 innings, which we've seen him do before. I'm not getting to the Gilberts and some of the other guys. I'm sticking with the Bassett. I'm sticking with the Luzardo, Peterson. Those would be my 3 main pitchers today. And not really going to probably use anyone else. Just the matchup for Gilbert feels a little bit too tough considering how much Vegas is giving him a little too much respect, in my opinion.
Yeah, give me 2 home runs from your man, from Seager.
Why not?
And Gilbert was definitely, I don't want to say struggle. I mean, not the worst game in the world, but he wasn't great against Texas. Last time they started, he gave up 4 walks.
That's very unlike him.
Yep. And the 2 games before that, he gave up 2 home runs in each game. Long season, man.
Yeah.
And you get, again, Texas, teams like Texas and whatever, they swing the bat. And 5-game slate, you're going to need, listen, you're going to need, as I mentioned last night, you're going to need to compete for 10 runs, against when the Dodgers are on the slate, so you're going to need both the Dodgers to kind of fail a little bit, and you're going to have to get there. And listen, Gilbert's good, he's good, whatever, but yeah, this Texas has upside on a small slate at sort of low ownership. So that'll be my stab. I'll be the last one to be dead though, because they start at 9:40. Right?
Yeah, I actually like that play though. I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I mean, you're getting the best effort from Seattle in a desperation game. That's the one part that's a little bit tough, but I love the idea. I would see it more as a secondary stack for me, but I kind of like the idea. Basically close out the division today, and they would be basically they'd be 3 up with 3 to go. All right, so we'll see. I'll see you guys live at 6 Eastern.
I will be there as well.
Oh, beautiful. And then we are going to transition over. I'll start another show. And then at 7 Eastern, I will be doing the live before lock for football showdown. And then Rhodey and I are going to do our picks and plays of the week after the game's lock. So a lot of content later today.
Yeah. The other thing is, again, I haven't forgotten about this. I'm going to see what I can do with respect to Ryder Cup because I can't do anything until I know the pairings.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we're going to have time to do like a video or anything like that. I mean, I will say that it's it's a good idea to play guys that are going to be pairing with one another because they correlate and all that stuff.
Right.
But we can talk about something.
Yeah. Just let me know. I'll make some time.
And if you want to do a showdown slate thing, we can. But I know you're going to do it a little more
Yeah, I don't think the early. It's just so hard with even the players like not knowing who's in. You know what I mean? You end up with the most popular guy as a guy you never considered because two guys are out or something. I just like the last injury reports before we do them.
Perfect.
All right,
Okay,
cool, bud.
good.
All right, man. Have a good day. See the rest of you guys at 6. And